Ringmaster animatronic made with Seasonal Visions International was one of our first props revealed at the Morris Costume booth back in January for the 2019 Halloween season. Today we review on him as I discuss him in 5 different categories and discuss whether or not this guy is really worth what he is.
I raised Nibbles the Clown from a small club. Now look at him. Such power. Such a fight. Think what we could do if we put you in a cage.
I think that the Rotten Ringmaster with Cage Clown prop has fairly good detail. I love how Nibbles the Cage Clown looks and his creepy grin, as well as the Ringmaster's facial detail and eyes themselves. Even if they do look a little bug-eyed, I really like how they look, and I love his top hat and his suit also. Overall, just a very nice looking animatronic for what you're actually gonna receive. The Rotten Ringmaster animatronic, like every typical SVI towering prop, turns from side to side while his head turns and his mouth moves. And with the extra feature of the Cage Clown, he then moves back and forth violently. He also speaks 6 phrases, which is more than the typical amount of phrases an animatronic gets. I think overall he has really good animation for what you're getting. This animatronic can retail up to any different amounts of prices since this is a wholesale prop, but his range is usually from $280 to $350. Personally, I think he's worth the $280 I paid for, but I wouldn't pay anything over that. If you can get him for that price I paid for or cheaper, I'd recommend him. Otherwise, anything over that price I personally think is not worth it. Overall, I wouldn't really want to pay $300 for this guy or $350. It just seems a little much, but that is overall just my opinion. I think that the Rotten Ringmaster could be startling amongst guests, but he seems more of a showstopper prop than an actual scary one. Although, if a person has a fear of clowns, this could be terrifying to them, and it really just all depends on how it's used and how people react to things. I think this animatronic has a pretty decent amount of good quality. The only thing I've seen with this prop and KG the Clown with the Kid is that the pole that holds the cage clown can get too close to the hip loop and start to grind against it. The way to fix this, which I've discovered, is that you have to bend the hip loop down, and that should fix the problem. I don't think this is a common problem, but it has happened on both of my animatronics I've owned, like the KG and the Ringmaster, so I recommend to keep an eye on that. Otherwise, I think he's fairly good quality. Overall, I recommend this animatronic to anyone who is a fan of clown props, and if you can get this for a good deal, I'd say go for it. There is also a Rotten Ringmaster with Cage Kid animatronic, but I don't think it's as good as this version, as I feel that it makes the Ringmaster look more like a star of the act, while the Cage Kid just makes him look like a monster. But that's just how I can see it, how I say my preference on it. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you did, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.